My name is Casey Gotcher. I'm Director of Product Marketing for our graphics businesses, so Radeon and FirePro being the two. Yeah, so it's a bigger issue than just one particular product, and so what I'd like to do is answer that as a more holistic philosophy. Oftentimes, where products do, you talked about it being rebranded, we would typically call it something different inside of AMD, and I'll explain why. But where that typically happens is more within the OEM systems, not so much on the channel side. And often what's happening is we're adding additional functionality. So the silicon may be the same from one generation to the next, but a lot of times we've added something like HD 3D, for instance, or some other feature to enhance it. So while the silicon may be basically the same, the end product is often a different product because we've added functionality to it, performance and other features. It's actually a good question. And I'll answer with really two answers. I think in reality, I think our demand right now is outpacing, especially for that Cypress class products, our demand is outpacing where we thought we probably would be, which is a great problem to have, but nevertheless, you'd obviously like to have as much silicon as necessary to satisfy the demand. But on the 6990 in particular, that ended up being the world's fastest graphics card, pretty much undisputed at this point. And so when that happens, you don't often know when you're designing and when you're doing forecast, months and months out, you often don't know exactly where you're gonna end up because you don't know how fast the other guy's gonna be. And so you do your best guess at trying to make sure that you forecast it accordingly. Given the fact that this card is the world's fastest, the demand for it's been great, but also on 6970, the demand for that's been great. And so because we do share some silicon in the Cypress family, that whole Cypress class of products, 6900 class of products, the demand is such that we're trying to satisfy with the products we're getting in, we're trying to satisfy where the demand is most needed. And the other Cypress products right now probably have even greater demand, and so a lot of times that's the choices that are made by us and our AIB partners. It's actually another really good question. Philosophically, when NVIDIA decided to go and do this, a couple of years back, the ecosystem itself really wasn't in place, so the only way you could do something like that was to do a proprietary approach and handle a lot of the engineering work yourself. What we decided to do was we really felt like 3D in general wasn't ready for the masses yet, and so we decided to wait until we felt like that it was the right time. And so Hollywood, for instance, and the TVs and movies and all those things have helped kind of really create demand for 3D. So once that happened, we felt that was the right time to enter that market. And so once that happened, then the ecosystem, the middleware providers, the glasses manufacturers, all that stuff was in place. And so we looked at, do we do a proprietary solution or we do an open solution? Our belief is that over time, open always wins out. And I can give you an example after example of where somebody had a proprietary solution and an open source solution came out, and it ended up being the long-term right way to go. On top of that, our OEM partners don't want us to give everything the same to them. They like the ability to differentiate. So when you have 3 different partners for glasses, 3 different partners for middleware, etc., it gives them an opportunity to work with the partners that they would prefer to work with. It gives them an opportunity to maybe differentiate their offering a little bit from somebody else's that's in their space. So in general, we felt like that was the right approach for us. And by the way, it's also cheaper. We're offering what most people would argue to be a higher quality of glasses with the choices that we have, and it's less money. Because again, that open ecosystem, and it's not something that we're taking a profit off of. We're not selling the glasses or the middleware, our partners are. So you're not having to also pay me a premium on top of what they're getting as well. So it ends up being a less expensive solution too. So interestingly enough, the demand for performance is greater than the demand for energy efficiency. So it's always a choice, right? Our silicon today is much more energy efficient than it was 2 generations ago. In fact, if you look at our 5870, which came out, generation before last, we got it was the fastest card, period, in the market at the time. The power consumption was 180 watts. We lowered the idle power to I want to say it was something like 19 watts, which is really, really good. So we've made tremendous strides in energy efficiency, but when you say, are you going to make it even more efficient? We do have products that are lower down the stack that are much more energy efficient than those, but on the high end, people still want the most possible performance that you can give them within a given thermal band. So we have targets, let's say like a 75 watt target, and you go up the stack. There are targets that our OEM partners want us to achieve, and then on the AIB side, the add-in board side, these guys want the fastest silicon we can give them at a given band. So as long as that demand for more performance keeps up, then you'll see us probably stay fairly consistent on the power consumption, just with a lot more performance each generation. So right now we really, again, it goes back to the choice of, we've decided to go the open ecosystem versus the proprietary. We did have a proprietary solution called Brook, which was competitive with CUDA. And when we went out and started talking to the ISV community about optimizing for it to take advantage of GPU, they basically said, we don't want to do anything that's proprietary to you or anybody else. We want open so that it works on a wide variety of platforms. We want to develop once. So at that point we decided it was best to jump on the OpenCL wagon and really help develop and help to increase the potential and the capabilities of OpenCL. We also partnered with Microsoft on Direct Compute, which is a part of the DX11 API, to make sure that that's robust and that is a secondary offering. And then another thing that's really interesting is Microsoft announced Windows C++ AMP at our Fusion Developer Summit, which the nice thing about AMP, in addition to Direct Compute and what we have with OpenCL, is the language that people are used to writing. If you're used to writing in C++, it's going to be a very easy transition to write your applications and then compile them to where they take advantage of GPU compute. So the sky's the limit, and we're really starting to see a lot of traction. We've already got partnerships with Cyberlink and ArcSoft and Corel and a variety of people that are developing applications today that are transcoding applications, media encoding applications. We have the 3 major browsers all have GPU acceleration now, which is a great thing for the Fusion ecosystem. So I think that, like I said, the sky's the limit. It's only going to get better. First thing I'd like to say is, if you're one of your users, then you've obviously bought a card from us, and we really appreciate your business. And I would definitely make sure to check our website once a month, because we do offer Catalyst updates every month, and there's often new capabilities being added and performance upgrades. There will be, every couple of generations, we'll put out drivers that might have 20 or 30% performance increases for certain applications. So once you buy the card, it just keeps getting better. So make sure you're checking our site once a month, and make sure that whatever the latest and greatest capabilities are and the latest and greatest performance, you're getting to take advantage of it.